It's terrible. It's fucking bad. Anyway, welcome back to the Last Call podcast. My name is Philip Bracco. To my immediate left.
This is Jimmy Salazar, and then joining me to my left
is Paul Adami.
And we're missing Nick. Did anybody shoot him a message?
trying to get a hold of him, but he hasn't responded.
I'll try to shoot him a message. But so we're down Nick Stone. But he might pop in here in the next hour or so. But we're supposed to kick it off with Jimmy's topic tonight, right? That's right. So I'm gonna pass it over to Jimmy.
Thank you, sir. All right, so the big deal here is I finally managed to finish out Jessica Jones the other day. I've been kind of slacking off on it really badly. So I finally just sat down and burned through the whole thing while I couldn't do anything else at home. And I must say, it was a hell of an ending. There was a lot of things that went down that, I was really sad to watch Kilgrave go down as a villain. David Tennant did such a great job with him and made it borderline creepy. He got...
So what did you think about his death?
They were obviously playing to it because the whole time was her doing her best to not kill him. And everybody just kind of pushing her to do it. And how much it took to finally get her there. I was kind of glad it was real simple. She just grabbed him and just done. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't over dramatic.
Right, but what I'm asking is the actual death of Kilgrave. Something that a lot of new material doesn't cover, and you kind of hoped that the Purple Man would be around.
I think that was my only biggest concern. It was him going out because I wanted to keep him around as character. He was a great villain, in honesty.
I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to go away, but I wanted him to stick around because he's like one of the most badass villains in the entire Marvel universe. And I wish that he didn't die, or maybe he comes back at later time.
We'll see maybe on. I know the little tidbit they gave when he takes the super serum and he goes purple for a second and he gets the veins in his face. I was a little overnawed because in the comic books he is purple and shit. So I was kind of hoping they may go more with it. The whole Luke Cage thing was a good spin-off too, how he was just been controlled the entire time. That was... Luke Cage fucked the shit out of Jessica. In fairness, I would too, if I had to.
Right. But my question, on top of just the fact that we lost David Tennant as the Purple Man, is the other part that how could this Marvel universe have handled Purple Man? You really, in this universe, there is no way to just be like, we injected him, his powers are gone, or put a collar on him and his powers are nullified. In all honesty, in this Marvel universe, I think that is the only way to handle Purple Man. Kill him. As much as I despise the idea, there really is no way to do it.
And that's kind of made it a big deal for me when they got to that point, because they're really trying to ground this over. In the entire series, they're pushing the whole, how do you deal with somebody? How do you even begin to prosecute or even prove to people that superpowers exist? And that was a good point that they made throughout the entire show. Was even if somebody is gifted, how do you even go about persecuting them? How do you go about bringing them responsible for their actions? Especially the final, the exchange they have at the jail with Jessica and Hogarth and the prosecutor, and Hogarth's going on and they're talking about it, and it's like, oh please, how are you going to even begin to prove that? And she brings up how all the cops were controlled, how all the stuff they did, how all the stuff everybody did. It's like, how do you bring it up? And of course, it was the big thing that they were trying to avoid over, because Jessica, as much as a jaded alcoholic bitch she could be, she didn't want to kill him. She wanted to see him brought to justice. And over the course of the show, she had to go through so much to finally get to the point where, he does need to die.
On that part, I don't think she decided that he needed to die until that very last instant. When it's she's still going in thinking she can stop him without killing him, until that very last moment when he takes control of Trish, and it's like, there's nothing you can do to stop me from controlling people. As a matter of fact, I'm now more powerful and you can't stop me from controlling anybody. Unless everybody on the jury, the judge, are all wearing hazmat suits that don't let any air in, how are you going to do that? How are you going to manifest that?
No, they got to be wearing those Magneto helmets that he used to block out Professor X from getting into his head. Everybody just needs the Professor X helmet or the Magneto helmet.
Or a scuba apparatus where it's got the...
Another good thing I did like that they did with the last episode was they used the Night Doctor from Daredevil to tie it over. Because the big thing I was worried about is like they're already talking about... Yeah, they're already talking about the how they're going to tie them all together. They're going to get a Defender series. Like, well, how are you going to bring all these characters together? Even though you're hinting they're all in the same area, they're all doing the same thing. Like, how are you still going to pull them all in the same worlds? And that was a big question I had for a while, right until the end when they brought her in, and she's over there helping. She starts referencing Daredevil, and she even brings up, I can call him in if we do need the help. And Jessica's like, no, I have to do this alone. But still, I like how they did that. The other thing I did like to see, too, was how they closed off with her getting forced to be a superhero again and everyone calling her to save her, and she's just sitting there conflicted at the desk. That was a great way to end that. And then she has her neighbor right there next to her, and he kind of picks up the phone, kind of making her go through with it, which is going to be interesting coming over into the next season.
Well, not just that. She's now the reluctant hero in all of this. Like, she knows she can do better. With Trish in the background always saying, you can be a superhero. I mean, it was all great stuff. But one of the things I really liked about it, and I don't know if you noticed it, is in this series, when they were talking about the Avengers, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones were both referencing the big green guy and his friends, not the flag waver or, the armor. They were specifically making reference to the Hulk, referencing the inner monster they had, whereas the Hulk is the monster that they see, and they only made that reference to him and his friends. So if you think about it, they look at themselves as a monster, and the only person they associate with for the Avengers was the green guy and his thing.
It was big. That was one thing I did notice stand out, especially early on when Luke and Jessica have their little date and they talk. Like you're saying, they only ever reference Hulk throughout the whole show. They never really reference Thor. They never really reference Iron Man. I mean, Daredevil did it. They had that couple throws in where they talked about Thor, they talked about Iron Man, and all of them.
And
the
flag waving
and
guy.
But Jessica Jones, they specifically went for the Hulk, which I did kind of enjoy, because that also made me wonder in my head seeing the Hulk in like the TV show, like where they're just in Hell's Kitchen just relaxing and something big goes down and all of a sudden Hulk's just like running down the street and Jessica and Luke are just looking at him like, well.
That would be crazy. I missed a little bit of what we were talking about, but with that said, my favorite parts of Jessica Jones were definitely when she had Kilgrave in the chamber. Holy shit, that was so intense. But so we can go on and on for a long time. We could have a long, full discussion about how great Jessica Jones was. But I want to start throwing out different theories here and there. One that Paul, you and I have talked about before. And I still am kind of stuck on this, and I want you to think about it now that you just finished the series, Jimmy. But I think, and I love Kristen Ritter, and I think she knocked it out of the freaking park. With that said, though, I think the best part about Jessica Jones was Kilgrave. So I am worried that either future seasons of Jessica Jones will not be as good without such a compelling villain, or even incorporating her into the Defenders might seem just so out of character for her. I just hope they handle it really, really well.
Yeah. See, that's kind of a big thing with any superhero, really. I mean, even, let's go farther than that. Go to, like, wrestling when they started becoming a spectacle in the 70s and 80s. You can't really have a good hero or highlight a good hero without a good villain to follow them. I mean, look at most Iron Man villains from all the movies. They were kind of ho-hum. You had Whiplash, you had Mandarin, and then you had Thor. And then if you remember with the Thor series, the big come out was Loki, because he was such a character as a villain. He was kind of complex. He had wit to him. He also had to rely on him at some point in the second one. which was really good. And like I said, it takes a really good villain to highlight a really good hero, or just make the hero. And like Phil was saying, I do agree. Kilgrave was an amazing part of this show. For David Tennant, it was his antithesis over to his Doctor Who character. And just borderline creepy. Like, even the first episode in, without directly showing Kilgrave, he immediately freaked you out. And you're like, ugh. Like, it made your insides cringe just thinking about the guy.
Well, so on the villain side of it, and you're right, Jimmy, you need a central villain all the time in some way. But if you look at Jessica Jones in the comic books and all of that, once she gets over the Purple Man Kilgrave doing his things, and she does get her comeuppance in the comic books, after that, she's more of a background character for a lot of other people. So Luke Cage, and in the comic books, I'm not saying this is going to happen in the TV show, but in the comic books, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones eventually have a kid. And so during Civil War, she decides, because Luke Cage wants to stay and fight, be the Underground Avengers, and, all of that kind of good stuff. But Jessica's like, I can't do this with a baby here. I need to get out of the way or something. And so the second season of Jessica Jones might be more of a normal bad guy that's not her protagonist, but a protagonist in general. And from there, it's more the reluctant hero. Like, I don't want to fight this guy. I don't have anything against him, but he's doing something bad in some way that makes her want to be personally vested in it and involves her. And then, like, there may be another innocent that, where they get Murdoch and his friend, not happy, whatever. Foggy. And that they may be involved in that sense. And, you start tying in some more of the characters together enough to where Stephen Strange is coming out, and he can be the one that starts the Defenders, because in the comic books, Strange is the one that brings in the Defenders, and they're not the same Defenders every time. They're, a mishmash of whatever he needs to get this one goal accomplished. And so, see?
I'm sorry, you keep thinking he's like Strange, and then I remember Benedict Cumberbatch is playing Strange coming up. And okay, I'm sorry, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm a big fan, but I caught a nickname to him a long while back that just stuck. Cumberdick Bandersnatch. I just heard it in a random news article. They were talking about a Star Trek, because somebody was doing a comic book where they crossed over the classic Star Trek with the Star Trek Into Darkness movie, and they have him in there, and the guy just constantly refers to Benedict as the fucking Benedict Cumberdick Bandersnatch. So it just stuck, kind of like Matthew McConaughey. It got stuck in my head, and it's there.
I've never heard Matthew McConaughey.
You've never heard Matthew McConaughey? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Matthew McConaughey, but I heard that and it just done. It was there.
It rolls off the tongue, McConaughey. But I think it started on. Okay, first of all, Benedict Cumberbatch, who I also love, an amazing actor. I really like Sherlock. The new episode, The Abominable Bride, was fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, watch it. But he has a legion of girls, just a fan club of girls that love him, and I do. No, okay, they do. They're called the Cumber Bitches, and he wanted to change it.
Yes, they refer to themselves as Cumber Bitches. He does not like the name at all. He'd rather they call themselves Cumber Bunnies. It's a little more respectful because he feels it just kind of degrades all of them in general, which is actually, I kind of dig that, personally.
Yeah. But I think it turned into a Tumblr game where nobody ever says his name correctly. They always come up with a different way to say it. Like
me with Jared?
Yes, yes it is. So yeah. I don't even have any examples, but it's like Benedict Cumberbatch and then Cumberdick Bandersnatch.
Cumberdick Bandersnatch.
Any more about Jessica Jones?
Another one. I was talking about a friend about this. They the possibility of using Jessica Jones to bring in Miss Marvel, because in the comics they're actually really good friends. And I know they're doing a casting call out for Miss Marvel, which may include Ronda Rousey, which let's hope not, because we all remember her one line shut out from the last Fast and Furious movie. I remember you were telling me that. It's like she had one line and fucked it up. And I remember I was sitting there like, how do you mess up one line? And then I went to go see this movie with my now ex, and the line came up, and I just sat there. I was like, yep, that's how you fuck up one line. Just how the stormtrooper in Star Wars made it with one word, which was good for me. I mean, we'll see how they go. Like I said, if they use, like you're saying, a background character to Miss Marvel to bring her in, would also be kind of cool too. We'll see how she goes in with the Defenders, with Luke Cage and Daredevil, and the possibility of the Punisher coming in too.
So the character I see highlighted in Jessica Jones season 2 is Trish. Now you may not know this, but she is also a comic book character and has been for about 75 years or so. And once she got to Marvel, because they were bought by the different corporations, Penny Comics, I think, and all of that. So Trish started out as kind of like an Archie character. And then when Marvel got her, they kind of tried to do that a little fashion, kitschy. Oh, look, it's just Patty or whatever. Yeah. And that's what she was going by. And then when Marvel finally started rewriting her, she went by Trish because she was normally, and they made her Wildcat. So she is a normal human being with, I think the official stat is Olympic caliber strength and agility, which is what Marvel gives any character that doesn't have superpowers. They usually have Olympic caliber strength and agility. Right.
That's it. You got your superpowers, you got your techs, you got your mystics, you got your AP kids. Yeah. Yes. There's your totem pole from Marvel.
Let me tell you what, I fucking hated the guy, the Simpson. Oh, I hate it. Okay, look. I understand, because we've talked about it, I understand his character is supposed to be like this. He's also a comic book character. But that person, as an actor, I feel like he's a terrible over-actor. And at many times, it took me out of the show because the acting was so bad. It was terrible.
Okay. I don't know if either of y'all got the vibe from it. He kind of looked like a knockoff Captain America to me. For me, when I first saw the guy, I imagined that he went into casting for Captain America. And he was like, maybe a guy or two guys after the guy who plays him now, Chris Evans, and he came in and they're all like, we're already like kind of decided on Mr. Evans. How would you like to play another role in one of our shows? And then you got off.
So you're right. There is his character is not Frank Simpson, or what was he? Sam Simpson
he was Sam Simpson.
In the comic books, his correlation is Frank Simpson, who is a character that goes by the name Nuke, who has to take the pills to make him superpowered, and they go by the same color scheme. Red makes you overly aggressive, blue calms you down, white settles you in, that kind of thing. And so, yes, he is kind of one of those other super serum soldiers, And so, yes, he is kind of a Captain America knockoff in that sense. And the pills, the red ones, are supposed to make him like hyped up and not thinking rationally, because you should be telling that guy, go do this, and with the red pills he's like, bah! Yeah, let's do it,
I didn't like him.
I can understand you didn't like him.
I mean, now that you're saying that, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the pills, they could be going with the story that the pills are like a refinement over from the super soldier serum that they gave Captain America. That could be another subtle back tie that's where they got it from, and they just decided to make it over into a pill form where they mass produce it for all their spec ops. I mean, that's where I could see it going, because I mean, we obviously saw what the hell those things can do. I mean, Trish took like one and was like going toe to toe with him, and then almost died from it. But we see how effective they were. Oh, that looks awesome. We should post this.
And not only that, Nuke has an American flag tattooed on his face. So that's yes, he is the Captain America knockoff. And it's not It's another attempt in the Marvel Universe to make a super soldier serum. So that's where, yes, you are 100% right, Jimmy. It is a Captain America knockoff.
All right, well, thank you for confirming that one on me. I was kind of seeing it. I mean, I just couldn't shake it. I mean, like Phil was saying, he was bad acting. He was a low point for the show compared to everybody else.
But he's supposed to be this
He's supposed to be that guy, and it's understandable. But still, it was hard to shake the Captain America knockoff feel.
So, Phil, knowing at least this much information, and that he is essentially supposed to be he's the hero that is not a hero because of just circumstance. Like, his story that he tells Trish is, when I was a little kid, I burned down my sister's Barbie dream house so my G.I. Joes can go in and save her. And he's the guy that is making a situation so that he can be the good guy, even though he's not the good guy. And that's where his overacting could be 100% right.
Well, I don't think the overacting was intentional. I think he's just a bad actor. And I don't think any military program would have accepted this kid because he sounds like a fucking liability to me. If he's causing problems so he can go in and be the hero, that sounds terrible. That is some psychotic fucking behavior. And I don't think that dude should be given these fucking pills at all. Right, okay, but when he takes the pills, he's uncontrollable. If Jessica or whatever the fuck her name is in his way, he will beat them the fuck down so he can carry on with whatever he's trying to do. Right. Which is, again, a fucking liability. That's not okay.
And I agree with you, except that if it was a military situation, they would have already told him the mission. Here's what we need to do. Kind of essentially give him the laser focus and then put the pills in him, because he already had the preconception that I need to go kill Kilgrave. And that was all he did, take the pills, and then he went straight like a beeline. Yeah, he almost killed Trish. He almost killed Jessica Jones, but that was because his mission was one and only focused on Kilgrave.
I hated that guy so much that the fact that he pulled Trish just pissed me off. There's no way that crackerjack would have been able to pull Trish. It's bullshit.
All right, I'll give you that.
I'll go. Yeah, we'll make that unanimous. I don't know. That's a bigger plot point than where the hell happened to him after he disappeared. I mean, obviously the next season they're gonna go into it.
And Wildcat is doing her research right now on the corporation, so we may see him again. So
that could be almost the entire next season, or most of the next season, where they kind of start digging into what this corporation is. Why did they do this, Jessica? Why are they funding all this stuff? Why are they so involved? What's Simpson have to do with these guys? Because I do have a feeling that Simpson is heavily involved with these people. Because I mean, they're trying to play as like, I'm just a spec ops, unit. But with all the other guys coming after him, he's got some connection to it all. Right. So, I mean, maybe he wasn't there out of coincidence. I mean, maybe they groomed him to specifically pull Trish, which could explain how the fuck he got her. I mean, maybe they, fine-tooth profiled her and it's like, she likes bulky, kind of dumb, obviously guys that got anger issues. Go and get her, buddy. Here's $20 and the best of luck.
I don't think he even did that. I don't think there was the spec ops that was doing that. He was just trying to get to Kilgrave, and he figured the best way to do it would be Jessica Jones's best friend, which he didn't know was her adoptive sister. So, okay. Overall, Jessica Jones, 1 through 10. Jimmy, what do you give it?
Ooh, man, that is a tough one for me.
Yeah, I thought he was going to put it.
No, there's a couple things I did. I want to give it a solid 8.5. There's a couple things. I mean, Kilgrave going off really kind of flatten the end for me. I mean, obviously they set up a lot more stuff going forward, but losing such a great character, such a great villain, well, it's gonna kind of hurt, because that's gonna be a big shoe to fill for whoever the next antagonist is over. Yeah. I mean, they have to bring not only a serious threat, because Kilgrave was a threat to just everybody so casually. I mean, for God's sakes, he was telling people to just go off themselves. You go do this. You go stand at the wall and just sit there forever.
How about when he was like, you should have seen the guy when I told him to go fuck yourself.
That was great. See, it's like he also brought an air of comedy. I mean, he was creepy, but he was still charismatic. He still had a little bit of humor to what he was saying, even though it was dark and twisted. I mean, that is a lot for a villain to have to take over. But other than that, I really enjoyed the show. Dealt with a lot of dark themes. Dealt with rape, dealt with PTSD, responsibilities of superpowers. How do they correlate, and how do they, work in the real world? And the other cool thing I thought was interesting was the lesbian couple. Because in the comic book, Hogarth is a man. So to gender swap him over was actually really well. Because they didn't make it like a whole, oh, they're lesbian, it's only a sexual thing because they're lesbian. No, they treated them like an actual couple going through actual shit. And it was just beautiful. I mean, granted, it was a typical leave your older loved one for the new, young, fresh meat.
I would rather it be a typical story like that rather than making it an exceptional story where you're making it like special. Make it an ordinary story.
No, that's for me what made it really great, because they just made it normal. Just like, hey, yeah, they're lesbian, but it's still normal. They go through the same shit. And it was a really good, really good decision they went with on that. Because it's like you could have switched them over. You could have switched Hogarth to a man. You could have switched it any other way. And the storyline would have still worked perfectly no matter what. And that was, I think, the best part. Is they just relayed it into normal life.
So you're saying 8.5.
8.5. I'm giving it
I loved it. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. You can still technically call this a TV show, right? Because it's on Netflix, but it's a TV show. Okay, so I loved it. It was definitely a highlight for me for 2015. I want to say there were a couple things I didn't like about it, but it was really the actors themselves. Well, I really didn't like the neighbors, and they were supposed to be unlikable. I get that, but they also just didn't really seem like they fit into their universe at all. It was just like all this crazy shit's going on, and then you just got the crazy neighbors that's like wearing a diaper, and like the sister or whatever's being a bitch. It just seemed super out of place for everything else that was going on. And then on top of that, Simpson, I didn't like him at all. I would still, with that said, probably give the show a solid 9 out of 10. Yeah, I'm going to stick it with a 9.
All right, over to Paul.
All right, so knowing a lot of the storylines, knowing a lot of the different characters, knowing a lot of the hidden characters, the nods to Marvel and all the what's going on, and the way they handled the story, including I like the way they handled rape, where they actually called it out. Where Kilgrave was like, well, no, you willingly did it because I told you to do it. And it's like, just because you said do it doesn't mean I wanted to do it. Yeah. The 8 seconds, the episode 8 Seconds of Freedom, where Jessica spent her 8 seconds imagining jumping down and riding a horse out into freedom. And then because she only had 8 seconds of freedom, she blew it. And Kilgrave's like, Jessica, get over here. And it's like, wow, that's a wasted time. And they both don't remember it the same way. He remembers it as, oh, there was 8 seconds and you willingly came back to me. And she's like, no, there were 8 seconds where I could have done something and I kind of fucked up the whole dynamic of an abuser and the abusee was just amazing. And I would give it a 10.
10 out of 10.
10, all the way. I mean, I didn't like the way Kilgrave was disposed of, but looking at the Marvel Universe as it is for the cinematics, you have to off him. You can't have him there.
For the very first time in, I think, any comic, movie, or even book, and I don't read a whole lot of the comics these days, but I've never seen a villain that seemed like too dangerous for their universe. It was just like, I didn't want him to die because David Tennant was the shit, but at the same time it was like, if they don't kill this motherfucker, like, he could cause so much. His goal wasn't like end of the world type shit or taking it over, but if one day he was just like, fuck this, like, I'm just gonna run the show now, like, he could easily just take over like that. I mean, and where does that mind control stop? Because if you start incorporating other parts of the universe, does that mean that he could also control the, like, you know, Thor's people or the Avengers, or I'm talking like alien races and other, you know, like, does it work on them? And if it does, holy shit, now you have Kilgrave as like the most dangerous villain in the entire universe, and he might not be able to be stopped.
That's what kind of, like you're saying, he just seemed just too dangerous for it. He seemed very powerful, and I mean, that's always a big thing with, like, just comic book superheroes in general. You need to put somebody up against them who's going to seem just as dangerous, but he kind of hit it on the nail really well. Like others, you know, they had, like, you had Loki, you had like Whiplash and Iron Man. You had the Winter Soldier. You had guys that were formidable, you know, and I guess in a skill sense, but Kilgrave was a different kind of character. He was narcissistic. He was also very obsessed with Jessica, which really added to him, because all of that was just to get Jessica. And that's what made it even creepier, because he was so dead set. His jealousy, his rage, everything about it was all because of Jessica. I mean, for God's sakes, he made the guy fucking slit his own throat, the neighbor, just because he was leaving something for Jessica at banana bread. It's like, why? Because I love her. And bam, made him kill himself for banana bread. That's psychotic.
And I'm going to say this. Out of every comic movie, TV show, or whatever, this is the one villain whose death I think was actually earned throughout the entire series. Like, we knew why he had to die. Whereas if you watch every Spider-Man movie before, you know, with Tobey Maguire, or DC and the Batman Forever and all of the Tim Burton things where they killed every villain, those villains never in the script or story-wise earned their death. Because you could have captured them. You could have prosecuted them. Kilgrave was the first villain I've ever seen in any movie or TV show that earned his death because there was no way around it. The only way to stop him was to kill him. And I think that makes Jessica Jones head and shoulders over anything else. In the sense of, even that, your villain didn't just die because the hero felt like he had to die, or didn't save him like Batman, you know, in Dark Knight Rises, or the Batman Begins. It was, oh no, this motherfucker has to die because we cannot do anything about it. Yeah. And it was so well earned, the death, that I, as bad as I felt, and I did feel bad, and not in the sense of, oh, we lost another bad guy, but we lost David Tennant. But his death was so well earned in the series, and I've never seen another movie do that, or a TV show do that, that says the villain had to die. There was no other way to do it, because every movie has copped out with well, let's just kill the villain at the end, you know, superhero, air quotes, you know.
The last couple episodes of Jessica Jones, where it was just so many moments where me and Samantha, it was just like jaws dropped, man. It was just like, it was so intense, the last couple episodes, between all of the people that were like getting in the way, and he would either kill them or what was that deal with, I'm forgetting, because it's been a little while since I've seen it now, but when some guy was shoving another dude's arm down a garbage disposal.
Oh, you're talking about when he has those two guys that he's using their loft to kill his dad off. Yeah. When he has him hack his arms off, and the dad's still alive on the floor with his arms off, while the guy's putting his damn hand in a blender in the garbage disposals and everything. Like, it got really dark. He did some really sadistic crap, which was, I think, what made it so crazy too. And he did it so casually too. Like, when his dad refuses to, he's like, come here. Turn on the blender. Put your hand in. Slowly. And oh my god, and you see like the look in his eyes, like I don't want to do this, but I can't stop myself from doing it. And he's just so calm and making these people ruin their lives. It's scary.
Another thing that I really, really enjoyed was we were constantly being misdirected, like what was wrong, or like his parents specifically. Like the only thing we see from him is that his parents were bad people and they did experiments on him when he was a kid, and they were just like the worst, and they turned him into this monster. But then you see it from their perspective, and it's just like he was sick and they were trying to fix him, and so he had to go through all this stuff, and it's just like it was like watching two completely different shows depending on who was telling the story as to what was happening with the parents.
I think that goes a lot into like the rape theme they were going with too, because normally that's how it kind of goes. They have like two completely warped versions of the story, and going between it does happen a lot. You'll see it, but Cougar was really fucked up in the head, and I think that was the good thing about it. He kind of was.
Whoa, okay,
Come on.
Because you're talking perspectives.
Yeah.
I think the parents were rightfully afraid when he tells the mom, put the iron to her face. All right. So they don't really have a twisted side to it, except that they did actual medical experiments against their son. That's twisted. But the actual, like, oh, we abandoned him. No, they were parents that were fucking afraid of their kid because he made his mom pick up the iron and put it to her face. But at the same time, Kilgrave is the flawed villain in the sense that his parents abandoned him without him really understanding what's going on. And then from that point on, the only way he can get people to do things is by telling them to take care of him, provide for him, and all that. And it's because of his power he gets that. So he doesn't have the upbringing to continue to be a better person or anything like that. But his interpretation as a child is, my parents left me, boo-hoo-hoo, I'm fucked up now. And he doesn't have them to guide him on how to use his power. So he's not the true, like, I'm an evil villain. I'm just a villain who doesn't understand anything better. And because of his power, he can be obsessive about Jessica Jones. He can decide to just randomly, like, I don't give a shit about this. Like the kids. Yeah. Oh, kids are better seen than heard, and they just shut up. And then he's like, you know what? Kids, go in the closet. Because to him, any annoyance at that point can be taken care of like that.
Now, I think going over onto that, like saying he only could tell people how to take care of him. There was an interesting part midway through the whole series when he goes to get the house, Jessica's old house. Oh, man. Yeah. And I don't know if many people caught it where he's talking to the owner and he's like, I want your house. And the guy's like, no. And he goes to try and bark to tell him to give him the house, and he stops himself. He's like, no, I got to do this the right way. That was a real interesting little moment right there where for a second, he's like, no, let me try to do this without my powers.
And that goes to him trying at that point to legitimately get Jessica without using his power because he suspected that he couldn't do it.
And it was a small wrinkle that came up, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, then what's going on here? Like, it was, I'd caught it, and then the whole her trying to make him a hero for a moment kind of deal. That was a nice little thing they played with just midway through to see what could be done about it. I mean, fortunately it went the way it did, but it was a nice little, like, kind of red herring, some kind of glimmer of hope that maybe they can save him. Maybe they don't have to snap his neck.
Well, you didn't even think about that.
All right, so at the end of the day, Jimmy's giving it 8.5. I'm giving a 9. Paul's giving a straight 10 across the board. So do you want to move over to your topic? I don't even know what your topic was, but we gotta just switch over to Paul's topic real quick.
This is gonna be interesting.
Okay, so Jimmy brought up earlier that he wanted to be ordained with as a Judas priest.
Not Judas.
Judas Priest.
Judas.
Oh, Judas priest. Oh, I thought you said Judas, like the band Judas Priest.
No.
And
That would
so,
even be better.
right. So it made me think. Oh, it was like, oh, I could get ordained as a minister right now, and you would have to call me the Honorable Reverend Paul Adami, you know. And then it was like, well, I like that. It sounds interesting. Imagine us doing the titles, whatever titles we have. So it'd be like, oh, you'd be like Phil Bracco, Jimmy Salazar. Oh, the Reverend Paul Adami, right?
No.
Wait. So then it was like, well, I like when Stephen Colbert had his show on the Stephen Colbert Show, where he was the Honorable Reverend Dr. Stephen T. Colbert, DFA, and it was like, what titles can we get? And what title would you want officially? What title would you want so that we could call you, you know, like Philip Bracco, Esquire, you know, or yeah, see, it makes you think.
Our country's dumb because America sucks because at least as far as I know in the UK they have tons of kick-ass what are they, prefixes to names like master. It's like, you know, down here in the South you get a lot of people saying sir and ma'am and shit like that. Outside of the South that's not even a thing. But if I could be Master Philip Bracco, that might be fucking life-changing. That might be the shit.
Well, sorry about that. Well, going into what Phil was saying, so we decided, like, what do you have to do to officially be knighted to call sir? Because for some reason, just the idea of being legally known as Sir Jimmy Salazar would be amazing. Oh, hold on.
Last call.
Hey, look, the girls are on their game tonight. Awesome. Don't look at me like that, Cindy. So, we decided to look up what would you have to do to officially get knighted by the Queen of England. Turns out you got to do quite a bit. Right. Pretty much sort of saving her from being shot, and also a actual citizen of the UK. Or what was I think you were doing the numbers. You were running the numbers on what you had to do.
So a couple of years ago, and I'll have to find the story, and we can put it as a link. But you could spend up to about $20,000 to get a firm that has done 100%. No, I'm good on the beer, but we're gonna think about shots. So, shots. What do you want? What do you want as a shot?
This seems to be a tradition now.
What do I want for a shot?
Well, whatever.
Dun 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 dun.
Do we go with the usual, the Joker bombs, straight Scotch? No, I'm just kidding. No, please no. Let's do. Okay.
I think I'm down for some straight. I can do some straight.
We're not doing straight Scotch, Jimmy.
It's not. No, Scotch is a sip in between.
Yeah, if you want to do the orange creamsicles, that's fine. You want to do those? Yeah. I trust you.
All right.
The bartender's giving us this look like of just indifference at this point. Like, really? Seriously, guys?
Jimmy, what title do you want though?
I'm really mixed between Sir Jimmy Salazar and I do kind of want to go with the ordained minister of Dudism, just because I'm gonna of the Big Lebowski. It's you can get it free online.
That's awesome.
So I was thinking maybe I want to go with that just for the hell of it. People have to call it for me. I'll get the little thing. I'll hang it up. I'll put it on my wall at home and take a picture. Everybody can see it.
Okay, I might change mine. Okay, so is it just me or does the mic seem like it's getting lower?
It feels like it's
right.
Talk while you.
Okay.
There?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so Master would be kind of cool. Master Philip Rocco. Sir, to be knighted, I mean, do you just gotta like call up the queen and be like, "Yo, bitch, I want to be knighted"?
You missed it, I know, but I read an article. You could spend about $20,000 with a publicist firm in the UK, and they have a 50% success rating on applications to the Queen. Those people get knighted. Since you're not a citizen of the British Empire, you would be knighted, but it would be, instead of Sir Philip Rocco, you would be Philip Rocco BKE, like British Knight of the Empire, I think is what it's called. Okay. So you'd still be a knight, but you wouldn't be Sir.
That's boo, boo to that idea. But okay, so I guess that's not a thing. So I can't be Sir Philip Rocco, Master Philip Rocco. Lord Philip Rocco might be the best thing ever. How does one become a lord?
Okay, so in this sense, it's almost the King Ralph stretch. So if anybody remembers the John Goodman movie, King Ralph, in the movie, a number of people have to die, and then they're looking down the family tree, and they get to an American who's named Ralph. Did you find it?
Oh, yes.
And so if you want to be a lord, you have to look up your family tree high enough and find if you are of English descent to be a lord. Or, and I'll say this, knighting is not only British, there are other countries that do it. British are just the most notable for it. So if you can find another country that will knight you, you could do that.
All right, so while y'all two were discussing all this, I decided to take to the Googles to see what it takes to get a lordship.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Lord, shit.
A lordship.
Oh, that would look great.
You get to put in your first name, your last name for the lordship. You get a crest. You get your own crest. It will cost you €24.95.
But I'll wait.
Yes, yes.
$25?
25 euros.
Then I could be a lord.
25 euros to get a lordship.
About $50.
Yeah, about $50.
We were talking about 20 grand earlier.
Yeah,
35.
yeah. No, a lordship or ladyship. Ladyship. If you want a ladyship over there, Bianca.
Wait, so I could pay this money and then I could just be Lord Philip.
That's what this website says right here.
Well, if one website says it, then it has to be true, right?
It's the legit.
Oh, I believe you, and I will pay for this.
Hey, send it so we can put the link.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I am looking at it right
Lady.
now. It is.
You could be Lady Bianca.
Yeah, look, you can get a couple's title. You can get just the lordship or the ladyship. You can get a couple's title package that'll run you about 37 euros.
Done and done.
Wait.
I am Lord Paul.
Hold on.
First.
Legal title based on genuine bygone lord of the manor title supports the legal right to use the honorific title Lord or Lady. Dedicated land. Each pack comes with 5 square feet of dedicated land near Constantine water within District National Park.
Yes, I am totally doing this. I will be Lord Paul Adame the first.
No.
Now we're talking about owning land?
Yes.
You have to own land.
Our title packs make the perfect gift and can be bought by anyone for anyone. No requirement to be English. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall definitely toast to that. To lordship.
To lordship.
Well, I guess I'm going to be an ordained minister for Dudism and a lord.
Dudism is just fun to say.
Is it not?
Wait. What is the title for Dudeism?
I don't know. I have to look it up.
Because all right, let's say I decide today I want to be an ordained minister. I can go on that website that lets you be a minister for free, and I'd be Minister Paul Adame right now. But if I'm also a lord, am I a Lord Minister Paul Adame the first? Because I am also the first. I have a second.
Well, let's find out. I can look it over, see what. I would imagine you would be a Lord Minister, Paul Adame, which just sounds even great. That just sounds regal as hell. I need a robe. I need a scepter. At least some kind of sword to pass down to generations.
Sword.
Oh God. Okay, we're having way too much fun with this.
No, this is a great conversation.
I'm pulling up. Okay, I had to. Okay, so. Oh, maybe this isn't the right thing. I'm trying to find different titles. Okay, so there's Lord, Master.
Vicar.
I don't even know what that is. If you say that wrong, that sounds like it's getting real racist real fast. If you say that word.
Well, there are titles like Count.
Oh man.
A Countess if you're a woman. Viceroy.
No. You can be a boy count. Like Count Dracula. Count Dracula was not a woman. I want to be a count. Like count with my bros. Chocula and Dracula.
You could also be an Earl, like the Earl of Sandwich.
Earl, I don't know. It's one of those names like like Gus. You don't want to be a Gus. You don't want to be an Earl. I apologize to all the Gus's and Earls that might be listening.
I got it. Okay, so if you were to become an ordained dudist minister and a lord, your official title would be Lord Paul Adame of the Church of the Latter-day Dude. I think we have it down.
All right, so ladder dude. So, all right, so Phil, let's go back to you real quick. What's your title that you would want?
Okay, Count would be pretty badass, but not gonna lie, but it might be a little too wacky. So, with that said, I'm still gonna lock in. I'm gonna lock in Master. Master. I was gonna say Lord, but I'm gonna go Master. I'm gonna go with Master.
I like how you think that's too wacky with what we just came up with right now. Because in all honesty, I totally want to go with Lord Jimmy Salazar of the Church of the Latter-day Dude. That would just sound good. That just sounds like something I look at. It's like, that works for you. That's all you right there, man. I'm down. I am. All right, and Paul.
All right, so I would want to get an honorary doctorate degree so that I could walk around going,
How do you get an honorary doctor?
can I get another one?
Is that a thing?
Yes, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a real thing. Like I said, Stephen T. Colbert. And then can you close me out?
Is that the same as?
Unless you guys want more shots?
No.
Yeah, I am okay.
Can I get an 1800 chilled? Just one.
No, okay.
So there are a lot of actors and comedians and recording artists, because I'm just going to say that instead of being, but they also get a lot of honorary doctorate degrees in whatever college they're, doing the commencement speech for.
Kanye West got an honorary doctorate degree from some art school. Yeah, he's now I think officially Dr. Kanye West. And that kind of makes me happy because of his batshit craziness, and it also hurts my soul.
Well, and that's why I'm saying I would love a doctorate's degree. I mean, I've never been to college, so it'd be an honorary doctorate's degree.
Okay. With your fake doctorate, would you? Sure. Would you go by Dr. Paul or Dr. Adame?
No, it's very easy. It'd be Dr. Paul Adame the First. In the entire, if I'm being on a marquee right now, it would be Dr. Paul Adame the First. Jimmy's gonna
Got
die
it.
here.
No. Lord Dr. Paul Adame of the Church of the Latter-day Dude. In its entirety.
I want that shit on a name tag. I don't know if you guys wear name tags at your work, but I need a name tag that says all of that shit.
No. I'm gonna be fucking handing out business cards that are saying this. Lord Dr. Paul Adami the First.
Of the Church of the Latter-day Dudes.
I'll marry the shit out of you.
Then it gets better. When anybody tries to just shorten it out, it's like, no. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing. Oh, man. I would probably never get tired of saying that, ever. That'd be the best card, period.
Oh, that's good shit. That's good shit. And on that note, we took our shots, and it's just about closing time. So I think we're gonna sign off now. Thank you for listening to our wackiness and our bullshit. If you have this far, Nick, you better be here next week. We haven't been able to get a hold of you. I hope you're still alive. My name's Philip Rocco.
This is Jimmy Salazar.
I am the hopefully Dr. Paul Adami the First. Of the Church of Latter-day Dudes.
Boom.
If I had to.
Right. But my question, on top of just the fact that we lost David Tennant as the Purple Man, is the other part that how could this Marvel universe have handled Purple Man? You really, in this universe, there is no way to just be like, we injected him, his powers are gone, or put a collar on him and his powers are nullified. I mean, in all honesty, in this Marvel universe, I think that is the only way to handle Purple Man. Kill him. As much as I despise the idea, there really is no way to do it.
And that's kind of made it a big deal for me when they got to that point, because they're really trying to ground this over. In the entire series, they're pushing the whole, how do you deal with somebody? How do you even begin to prosecute or even prove to people that superpowers exist? And that was a good point that they made throughout the entire show, was even if somebody is gifted, how do you even go about persecuting them? How do you go about bringing them responsible for their actions? Especially the final, the exchange they have at the jail with Jessica and Hogarth and the prosecutor, and Hogarth's going on and they're talking about it, and it's like, oh please, how are you?
It's terrible. It's fucking bad. Anyway, welcome back to the Last Call podcast. My name is Philip Rocco. To my immediate left,
This is Jimmy Salazar, and then joining me to my left
Is Paul Adami.
and we're missing Nick. Did anybody shoot him a message?
trying to get a hold of him, but he hasn't responded.
I'll try to shoot him a message. But so we're down Nick Stone. But he might pop in here in the next hour or so. But we're supposed to kick it off with Jimmy's topic tonight, right? That's right. So I'm gonna pass it over to Jimmy.
Thank you, sir. All right, so the big deal here is I finally managed to finish out Jessica Jones the other day. I've been kind of slacking off on it really badly, so I finally just sat down and burned through the whole thing while I couldn't do anything else at home. And I must say, it was a hell of an ending. There was a lot of things that went down that, I was really sad to watch Kilgrave go down as a villain. David Tennant did such a great job with him and made it borderline creepy. He got...
So what did you think about his death?
They were obviously playing to it because they're going to even begin to prove that. And she brings up how all the cops were controlled, how all the stuff they did, how all the stuff everybody did. It's like, how do you bring it up? And of course, it was the big thing that they were trying to avoid over, because Jessica, as much as a jaded, alcoholic bitch she could be, she didn't want to kill him. She wanted to see him brought to justice. And over the course of the show, she had to go through so much to finally get to the point where, like, you know what, he does need to die.
On that part, I don't think she decided that he needed to die until that very last instant. You know, when it's she's still going in thinking she can stop him without killing him, until that very last moment when he takes control of Trish, and it's like, there's nothing you can do to stop me from controlling people. As a matter of fact, I'm now more powerful, and you can't stop me from controlling anybody. You know, unless everybody on the jury, the judge, are all wearing hazmat suits that don't let any air in. How are you going to do that? How are you going to manifest that?
No, they got to be wearing those Magneto helmets that he used to block out Professor X from getting into his head. Everybody just needs the Professor. The whole time was her doing her best to not kill him. Everybody just kind of pushing her to do it. And I mean, how much it took to finally get her there. I mean, I was kind of glad it was real simple. She just grabbed him and just done. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't over dramatic.
Right, but what I'm asking is the actual death of Kilgrave. Something that a lot of new material doesn't cover, and you kind of hoped that the Purple Man would be around.
I think that was my only biggest concern. It was him going out because I wanted to keep him around his character. He was a great villain, in honesty.
I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to go away, but I wanted him to stick around because he's like one of the most badass villains in the entire Marvel universe. And I wish that he didn't die, or maybe he comes back at later time.
We'll see maybe on. I know the little tidbit they gave when he takes the super serum and he goes purple for a second and he gets the veins in his face. I was a little overnawed because in the comic books he is purple and shit. So I was kind of hoping they may go more with it. The whole Luke Cage thing was a good spin-off too, how he was just been controlled the entire time. That was... In fairness, I would too. Sir X helmet or the Magneto helmet,
or a scuba apparatus where it's got the.
Another good thing I did like that they did with the last episode was they used the Night Doctor from Daredevil to tie it over. Because the big thing I was worried about was like they're already talking about. Yeah, they're already talking about the how they're gonna tie them all together. They're gonna get a Defender series. Like, well, how are you gonna bring all these characters together? Even though you're hinting they're all in the same area. You know, they're all doing the same thing. Like, how are you still going to pull them all in the same worlds? And that was a big question I had for a while, right into the end when they brought her in. And she's over there helping. She starts referencing Daredevil. And she even brings up, I can call him in if we do need the help. And Jessica's like, no, I have to do this alone. But still, I like how they did that. The other thing I did like to see, too, was how they closed off with her getting forced to be a superhero again and everyone calling her to save her. And she's just sitting there conflicted at the desk. That was a great way to end that. And then she has her neighbor right there next to her, and he kind of picks up the phone, kind of making her go through with it, which is going to be interesting coming over into the next season.
Well, not just that. She's now the reluctant hero in all of this. Like, she knows she can do better with Trish in the